Twisted minds unique.
Where is my co-host? And now I present to you this fucking thing.
Yeah. For real.
What is up, all you Slashaholics? Welcome back to Slash Sisters. I am Slash Sister Hallie.
And I'm Slash Sister Jen, and we want to welcome you back to your favorite channel for horror movie reviews by true horror movie fans.
Damn Skippy. And if this is your first time here, welcome! Where have you been?
What took you so long?
We've been doing this for 2.5 years.
I know.
2.5 years.
But we're glad you're here,
Yeah,
finally.
absolutely.
And, you know, since you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. And, you know, that way you've got the subscription going. You can go back and view all of the nearly 200 videos that we've got. So, yeah. Do that.
Actually, it's over 200 videos
Over
now.
200. Are we
Yeah.
over 200?
Yeah, we're over 200 now.
Awesome.
And if you watched last week's video, or if you just happen to know who this fucking thing is right here, you know what we have on the docket for today.
Yes, yes. We welcome back one of our favorite slashers, the king of one-liners, the hilarious, the scary sometimes. Not in this movie.
No, not in any of them past, like, one, really.
I thought he was scary in the last one. He had some scary moments in 3.
How he was scared.
That's where he picked up some more one-liners, but definitely. The Nightmare himself, Freddy Krueger.
That's right, folks. Today we are diving back into A Nightmare on Elm Street with A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, the second in what I like to call the Dream Trilogy.
Yeah,
because
for sure. They have
Dream
Dream in the
Warriors,
title
Dream
of each one.
Master, Dream Child. So
Right.
I call that the Dream Trilogy.
Yep. So join us back in the world of Kristen Parker as we watch night come creeping. Freddy's cruel hand will rock you to sleep.
You know, one of these days Spencer's actually going to sue us.
No, he won't.
Yeah, he would.
Why? I hope he does.
I mean, we could use the exposure, but we have no fucking money.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. We broke, yo.
Massively. Putting on a convention is not an easy thing to do, and we're sponsors for Horror Fiesta this year, so...
It's going to be fun, though.
Oh, yeah.
real.
Can't wait.
Working our tails.
We start our story 1 year after the last one, which seems like a theme in most of these 80s slasher franchises, almost 1 year. Although, like, if we actually look at the timeline for Friday the 13th, it's really skewed.
Yeah, it really is. Those first few movies, like, it's like... The
One
first
one
two...
through 4 takes place over the course of 5 years.
Yeah.
So, like, 2 takes place 5 years after the first, but then
Right.
3 and 4 take place
over the
course
next couple of
weeks.
days. Yeah, for sure. But it always seems like these movies start out like a year later, and here's a recap of what happened. You know?
But we have a new person playing the role of Kristen
Right.
in this. It's no longer Patricia Arquette, and I
Right.
for life may cannot remember what the girl's
her name is Tuesday Night.
Become Kristen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. She was a pop star.
Tuesday Night. Yeah, actually,
She contributed a
it's
song.
not
to the
credited on the soundtrack, but the opening song, the very first thing you hear, is a song by her, by Tuesday Night.
Which, by the way, when you watch this and that's what you hear, you don't feel like you're watching a horror film anymore. You feel like you're watching a teen rom-com from
or
the 80s.
like a music video, maybe.
Yeah.
From MTV time.
There's that too.
I mean,
Definitely.
MTV was very popular at this point.
Yeah, because later in this film, there's actually a commercial for MTV too.
There is. God.
Anyway.
So, Kristen, Joey, and Kincaid, the surviving Dream Warriors from the previous film, have been released from Weston Hills and are returned to Springwood to resume their normal lives.
Yeah, because Freddy dead, y'all. Freddy dead.
Is he?
I mean, you know, Kincaid seems sure to think so. Kristen dreams that she is in Freddy's old boiler room, and she summons Joey and Kincaid. Well, actually, first she's outside of Freddy's house.
Yeah.
And there's a little girl, like, drawing in chalk
yep.
Freddy's house with Freddy in, like, the lower window.
Right.
Then she's in the boiler room after she enters the house, and she does summon Kincaid and Joey to her.
Oh shit, Kristen, not again!
Saying that she's scared that Krueger might be back.
Mm-hmm. But, like, Kincaid kind of puts her hand, like, right onto the boiler, and he's like, look, it's cold. There's nothing to be worried about, you know?
Yeah, but then, Kincaid's dog, Jason,
Mm-hmm.
named for Jason Voorhees,
Yeah.
jumps out of the boiler and bites Kristen on the arm.
Mm-hmm. And then she wakes up. I mean, obviously they're in different places, but Jason is with Kincaid and has blood on his mouth, and Kristen is at home and has a dog bite on her arm.
Mm-hmm.
So, what an interesting little start.
Yeah,
to...
and when confronted with, like, well, what do you call this? And Kincaid's like, well, you bring my dog into your freaky ass dreams, he's a mongrel. What do you expect? You know, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I
Whatever.
guess.
Whatever. The next day, we meet Kristen's boyfriend, martial arts enthusiast Rick Johnson.
You going out dressed like that?
We are also introduced to this movie's new cast of characters because, as you will soon see, Dream Warriors are all going to be picked off very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. They
I don't
survived, and honestly, the actor that played Kincaid was livid.
I know.
that
I
he had such a
had
reduced
seen some
role in
interviews
this.
too, because he way later talked about it, how at the time it wasn't necessarily a trope, but it was becoming a trope that the black guy never dies first, never makes it through the movie, blah blah blah. It was definitely a trope by this time, and he makes it through part 3. Like he survives, a black man who survives a horror movie, and then he's the first kill in the second movie or in the next movie. And he was not happy about it because they asked him to come back here. He thinks he's going to be, like, you know, playing some kind of a role here.
Like a
he's going
substantial
from
role,
Dream Warrior to Dream Master. The name of the movie is Dream Master. Like what is this? Nope. Kill him off almost immediately. Our new kids for this movie also include Kristen's new group of friends, which is Rick. Rick is Kristen's boyfriend, right? Yeah, Rick is Kristen's boyfriend. His shy younger sister, Alice, who becomes our protagonist. Sheila, the nerdy girl with asthma, and Debbie.
Which, by the way, Sheila is black.
Yes.
Right? The directors and Robert Shea himself wanted her to re-record her lines to sound more black in post-production. Because I'll be honest, she does not sound very, like, she has a very, like, high-pitched, like, white girl voice for the most part.
Right.
But I mean, how fucking rude of them to even ask
rude.
that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
And definitely not something that would happen now, for sure.
Well, I mean, if you're Joss Whedon and you're the director, yeah, probably.
Who knows? Anyways, Sheila is the nerdy girl who pulls up on her moped, and she's obviously got asthma because the very first thing they show is her clicking on her asthma inhaler. And then we've got Debbie, who's the athletic girl who doesn't like bugs, and I'm sure that's not going to come up later at all.
No, not at all.
Never.
Why would it?
No.
I mean, Freddy only preys on your fears.
Right.
Yeah. Kristen has become popular while Kincaid and Joey are considered outcasts in school, but of course they are, right? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, Joey barely even spoke before he came back from Weston Hills.
No
like,
shit.
didn't speak at all, and now he doesn't really speak a whole lot, but
he doesn't get a lot of lines to speak.
Yeah, that's true, because he's not in the movie for more than about 10 minutes.
No, Kincaid and Joey confront Kristen at school for pulling them into her dream and tell her that stirring up old memories may just make Freddy come back for good.
Yeah. That night, Kincaid falls asleep and awakens in the junkyard from the end of the last movie, where Freddy has been accidentally resurrected by some flaming dog piss from Jason. Like, literally, flaming dog piss resurrects Freddy. And his body reconstructs very similarly
to how Jason is resurrected in Freddy vs. Jason?
And also very similarly to Frank in Hellraiser.
Yeah. So...
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
I heard, I don't take this with a grain of salt, but I think the filmmakers on this actually asked James Cameron how he would bring back Freddy. And I think this is how James said that he would bring back
with
Freddy.
A dog pissing fire?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or maybe James Cameron asked them what they were going to do, and that's what they said, joking, and that's actually what they ended up using.
Wow.
Like I said, take it with a grain of salt, but James Cameron was involved in that conversation somehow, some capacity.
That's real fun.
Though Kincaid puts up a good fight, he's no match for Freddy.
Yeah.
And he's
really
unable
isn't.
to contact Kristen to pull him out of the nightmare, and
I mean,
Freddy...
he's screaming for her towards the end.
And Freddy, unfortunately, stabs him in the gut with the knife fingers.
Yep. Then we get to see Joey, who is up late watching TV and listening to music, but eventually he is trying to keep himself awake, but he does eventually fall asleep. When he descends into his dream, or awakens in his dream, however you want to look at it.
And this is where that commercial for MTV plays.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. A Playboy model is swimming inside of his waterbed.
Because waterbeds were all the rage in the 80s.
They sure were, and I get that. But then she disappears, and Freddy pops up out of the bed and pulls him into the waterbed
And delivers one of the greatest one-liners in this film.
How's this for a wet dream?
Okay. This movie, like, structurally is super weird. A lot of things don't really make sense, but man, does Freddy have the one-liners in this movie. Like, this is the one-liner
I wonder
movie.
how much input Robert Englund was able to contribute with his one-liners.
I bet you he had a lot of input in it, because he's a funny guy. I'm sure he had a lot to say about helping Freddy become the one-lining quip that he is. But yeah, so he pulls him into the waterbed and kills him, and then his mom comes in and finds him inside the waterbed, which is just...
Which is not, I mean, first of all...
Impossible?
Most water mattresses were not fucking clear.
No, they weren't. They were like
blue.
cloudy.
Or blue.
I mean blue, but also like a cloudy, like even if you could see in there, like the film was not clear to where you could actually see someone's face like that.
Right. Kristen is absolutely devastated and heartbroken to learn that not one, but two of her friends are now dead.
Did you ever hear of the Dream Master? It's a rhyme. Just have to dream about someplace fun. Remember, you're in control.
And feeling guilty that she could have somehow saved them.
Yeah. Knowing that she can get pulled into their dreams.
Or pull people into her dream or whatever.
She freaks out at school when she gets there and realizes that their seats are empty. And falls into a wall, which knocks herself out. As she comes to, she is actually in a nightmare where Robert Englund
is dressed up as
the school nurse, and we get to see Robert Englund
in drag,
dressed as a woman, in drag. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
I want to draw some blood.
It's interesting to note too that when it shifts and it's no longer Robert Englund in drag, but Freddy.
Yeah.
One of the vials of blood in the thing that he's holding, the one that's facing closest to the camera, actually says England on it.
Really?
Spelled like his last name
Funny.
is spelled.
Things like I wouldn't have noticed had you not pointed it out.
Yeah, well, that's why we do this thing.
Yep.
Now I lay me down to sleep. The master of dreams, my soul I'll keep. Dream Master, I think I remember the rhyme.
That's right.
Realizing Freddy is back to finish the three of them off, at dinner she realizes with horror that her mother has put sleeping pills in her meal because Kristen has not been sleeping.
Her fucking mom. She tries to resist, but she runs to her room, and literally there's this, like, spinning shot where she's, like, trying not to fall asleep, and obviously the sleeping pills knock her ass out. And she wakes up on a beach where, Freddy's glove comes through the sand and attacks her, and eventually up pops from the sand Freddy fucking Krueger, who throws on his sunglasses, and what's his one-liner here? I know he's got one. There's a liner for every time he pops out of everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. The filmmakers wanted her in a skimpier bikini and she refused.
Good for her. Good for her.
As the last of the Elm Street children, Freddy taunts her into summoning one of her friends into the dream so that he can move on to some...
How sweet! Fresh meat!
Which he actually quips himself later in
Yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason with
Yeah.
How Sweet Dark Meat.
Dark Meat, yeah, when he's talking about
Kelly Rowland's
yeah,
character.
yep.
We actually had somebody talk about that line on Facebook a couple weeks ago or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I referenced this because
Yeah.
that in that film is a reference to this.
Yes,
right
exactly, exactly. So she ends up summoning Alice, and Freddy throws Kristen into his fucking boiler.
Beef. Yeah.
But before she dies, Kristen, who's burning alive, transfers her dream powers to Alice inside the dream that she pulled her into.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking movie.
Because, yeah, why not?
Because this fucking movie.
But this, so, okay, I get how maybe she could have transferred her powers.
Sure, within the dream space. Okay, sure.
But-
and we already have seen that Alice has some kind of weird dream or
Right.
kinetic
But-
power of some sort.
But it doesn't explain how she gets the rest of her friends' powers throughout this film, and
Because she's the dream master.
but is she?
Something happened in the dream, and now it's like part of her is with me.
Is she?
Anyways.
Freddy kills Sheila while Alice watches. They're actually locked into their school desks.
Yeah.
A bar comes around them and locks them into the school
Yeah.
desk and can't get out.
Yep.
And I believe Freddy quips right here
Wanna suck the face?
and literally sucks all the air out of her, making it appear like she's having an asthma attack in real
Yeah,
life.
in real life it looks like she's having an asthma attack, but in like the dream
She
space,
turns into a deflated latex balloon.
literally, like he sucks everything out of her. It's kind of funny. Yep.
And she dies there in class.
Yeah.
And somehow transfers her power to Alice.
Yeah, so then Alice now has her power, what's her power? Being smart?
Yeah.
Super smart? Okay. Rick now is starting to believe Alice about Freddy.
Yeah, because now that 3 of them have fucking been off
Yep.
in weird freak accidents.
Yeah. So, he's at school, sitting on the toilet, and falls asleep on the toilet, because this fucking movie, and has a dream where he is, like, transported through, like, an elevator into a dojo, and then is killed by an invisible Freddy.
Yeah,
Who
Invisible
is
Freddy.
taunting him the whole time.
Invisible Freddy basically beats him to death.
Yeah. From what I read, they did this actually to save money. To not have Robert actually in the room with him.
Whatever.
This
And yet
fucking
again,
movie.
every time one of her friends dies, she begins to change. Alice begins to acquire the abilities and personalities of her dead friends, shown by the fact that she has gotten Rick's martial arts skills by picking up a nunchuck and knowing exactly how to fucking maneuver that damn thing.
Yeah.
Which is not easy.
No, definitely not. Nunchucks are
one of the hardest ninja weapons to master.
Mm-hmm, for sure. So, her drunk asshole dad tries to stop her from leaving, basically trying to make her stay and go to sleep, which I don't understand. But she does.
Everybody needs sleep,
Yeah,
especially
right?
especially if you're a teenager in high school in the 80s. You need sleep.
Anyways,
Not if
she
you're in
does
Springwood,
go
you
back.
don't.
Yeah, she does go back up to her room, but then she sneaks out anyways, so that she can go and meet up with Dan, the guy that she has a crush on.
Mm-hmm. She goes to a movie theater and watches a movie where the theater then turns into some sort of wind tunnel?
Yeah, it gets real weird there for a while, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sucks her into the movie, and then Freddy attacks her in the diner where she works.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's, is it this one where, because I think I fell asleep.
See how good this fucking movie, you guys. This fucking movie.
But isn't in that nightmare sequence, isn't there like an older version of her, like in like aged up makeup in the
that
diner?
kind of happens towards the end of this sequence. Yeah.
Okay.
In the diner, there is an aged up version of her. There's also like he shows her the soul pizza, which has the meatball. He like makes some line about
Okay,
being
yeah,
soul
yeah.
meatballs or something.
Rick, you little meatball. I love soul food.
Soul food. That's what it was.
I mean, it was right there. Come on, Denny. Soul food.
I'm dumb. But yeah, it's a pizza made out of her friend's souls. So, yeah. So that's happening. But
she awakens suddenly because now it's Debbie's turn. Only she's actually stuck in a time loop.
yeah, she kind of gets stuck in this weird time loop where she realizes that Debbie's next.
It's not a time loop. It's a dream.
It's a dream loop. Yeah, it's a dream loop. So she, while Freddy is attacking Debbie, which how he does that is he transforms her into a cockroach because, you know, I told you that shit wasn't coming back about her insect fear,
First,
right?
he breaks her arms.
Yeah, breaks her arms while she's like doing some
weightlifting.
Yeah.
Breaks her arms, and then she ends up in a roach motel, and bit by bit she starts turning into this roach. Like, her arms fall off, she has cockroach arms, and then her face gets stuck to the sticky paper of the roach motel, and then it peels her face back, and then she's got a roach's head. And by the way, it was that actress in that fucking appliance.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's rad. I mean, I have to give it to him. There was some really
Mad
cool.
George does some fucking amazing effects.
He did some really, really cool effects in this movie.
And
that is one
Screaming Mad
upside
George
of this movie.
and Steve Johnson.
Yeah.
Steve Johnson, in my book, did some fantastic work in Ghostbusters.
Okay, yeah.
He was the one in Ghostbusters solely responsible for the zombie taxi driver.
Ooh, okay.
That was his quest to get in with the Ghostbusters makeup effects crew and everything. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, so I will say, if there's one fantastic thing about this movie, it's the effects.
Oh yeah,
there's some
like
really,
I said,
really
between
cool
Steve Johnson and Screaming Mad George, they're just on par with anything else out there.
But yeah, so then Freddy like smushes her like in his hand. But yeah, so while that's happening though, like Alice realizes that they need to try and go save Debbie. So then she gets Dan and they get in the car and they drive to Debbie's house, and as soon as they get into Debbie's house, she's back at the truck running to tell Dan that they need to go save Debbie, and then it just keeps like happening over and over again. So yeah, I mean it gets very weird.
So this I have a slight problem with, because obviously she knows that she's in a fucking dream.
Yeah.
She sees Freddy standing in the middle of the fucking road and decides to try to ram him whilst driving the fucking truck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that one more time for the people in the back that may not have heard me. Tries to ram Freddy with the truck whilst asleep behind the wheel of the fucking truck.
Yep.
Any guesses as to what happens? Leave a guess in the comment section below, because I can guarantee you can probably get it right. Yep, that's right. She crashed into a fucking tree, and Dan somehow got massively injured, but she walks away with no cuts, no bruises, or anything.
No, she's the Dream Master, baby.
Is she though?
I don't know.
And Dan is rushed into surgery where Alice is begging them not to put him under.
Like,
and of course
she's, like,
they have to
in the
put him
ambulance
under.
with him, and she's like, "Don't let them put you to sleep. Don't let them put you to sleep."
I mean, she smacks the shit right out of the paramedic's hand.
Yeah, he's allergic. Well, why didn't you say so?
But of course, because he's going in for surgery, he has to be put under.
Right. So in her dream, Alice rescues Dan, but he gets injured in the dream, making him bleed out. Like, he starts bleeding after they were done with the surgery, and the surgeons have to wake him.
Well, it ain't Dr. Seuss.
So he, like, in the dream space, he disappears, and Alice is alone.
And Dan does wake up relatively unscathed.
Yeah. For what happened, yeah.
Yeah. Alice now has to face Freddy alone. But with her newly acquired powers, she uses her friend's dream powers, because apparently everybody has fucking dream powers, yet Nancy couldn't fucking...
The rules have changed, Howie.
What
change with every movie, don't you know?
Yeah, what was the guy's name in 2?
Which one?
In 2. The kid's name, the male scream queen. I know it's Mark Patton in real life.
Jesse.
He didn't have any dream powers. Nancy didn't have any dream powers.
No.
But now everybody's got
She
dream
can pull
powers.
things out of her dreams, though, so maybe that was her dream power. Jesse's case was more of a possession.
Yeah,
Than it was.
Which never happens again in the rest of the... Whatever.
Weird. Like I said, the rules change in every movie, Allie.
Anyway, she uses these newly acquired powers to take on Freddy in the dreamscape.
Welcome to Wonderland, Alice.
Yeah, so when Freddy seems to be winning, she somehow recalls this nursery rhyme. They've been kind of talking about it. They've referenced it multiple times through the movie. Called The Dream Master, which instructs her to show evil its reflection.
Evil will see itself. And it shall
Quick little side note here. I see that you have a Linnea Quigley trash sticker on your water bottle there. Linnea Quigley has a guest appearance.
Oh, believe me, I've got it in the script here, baby.
Has a guest appearance coming up here very quickly.
She sure does.
She forces Freddy to face his own reflection, causing the souls within him to revolt, which tears him apart.
Yes.
Or so we're led to believe.
Yeah. Alice's friends' souls are released, leaving Freddy a hollow husk. And now is where I would like to take the chance to point out that according to Wikipedia, Linnea Quigley plays one of the faces that is, of the escaped souls. I'm going to make the educated guess.
It's the one that was showing her
breast. The one
breasts.
with the titties, yeah.
Yeah, it was the one that was
titties.
showing her breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Linnea Quigley had no qualms doing that in the
Oh,
80s.
she loved showing off her titties in the 80s.
Yeah,
that was
she-
her thing.
She had like a naked.
They were like-
naked horror workout video.
Oh, yeah,
too.
yeah. Well, it was like, wait, you need somebody for titties? Here I am.
Yeah, pretty much. She was the go-to girl for nude scenes in the 80s, which
For
is why
sure.
in Return of the Living Dead, she was completely
She's pretty
fucking
much
it.
naked the entire movie.
Except-
She starts off clothed.
Except for the merkin that she was forced to wear, because
Yeah.
she liked to
Keep it clean.
yeah, keep it clean.
Yes. Anyways.
Yeah, and if you don't know what a merkin is, go ask your parents.
Look it up. That's what Google's for.
Months later, yes, months, Dan and Alice are now on a date when Dan tosses a coin into the fountain for a moment. Brief, glimmering, shimmering. Shit, actually, it was shimmering.
Yeah.
Alice sees Freddy's reflection. This motherfucker.
This motherfucker.
In the water and chooses to ignore it as they walk away.
And that's the end of the film. Roll credits.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it. I mean, literally. Credits start rolling over the top of the fountain.
and this is also the first instance in a horror film where we get a rap song during the credits.
Oh my god, and it's Freddy's rap too, so,
Yeah, it's so cheesy. So
it's
bad.
super cheesy, but it's like,
So-
it's actually like,
I mean-
yeah, I know it's just cheesy. I was gonna say it's fun, but it's mostly just cheesy.
I mean, at this point in time, I think horror films are trying to capitalize on like music being in the films
For sure.
because of Dokken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because of Dokken from Dream Warriors, horror films at the time were trying to capitalize it. Ironically enough, too, this also came out in 1988, which happened to be the magical year that we got a new film from Freddy, Jason, and Michael all in the same year. The only year that ever happened.
Yep. Was a magical year, wasn't it? Even if they weren't always best versions of those movies. Yeah, actually, maybe it wasn't the best year for horror that year.
I'm not saying it was a good year, but it was a magical year in the aspect that we got
all
big
three.
80s slashers
Yeah.
in one year.
For sure.
You know, that just,
Agreed.
It doesn't happen, and it never will happen again.
Yeah. Thoughts, Hallie? Where are you at on this one?
Well, it's not 1 or 3.
And therefore... Okay, so my thoughts are, of the first 6, okay?
So we're going
Through
1
Freddy's
through
Dead.
Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, 1 through Freddy's Dead. What did we...
I don't know.
Did we have a ghost visit again?
I don't know. That top light likes to change colors. I don't know if you've been watching our videos. This top LED light up here
Every
likes
once in
to
a while
change
things
colors.
change. And
Yeah.
we just think we get little ghost visits. It's okay. Yeah, of the first 6, so 1 through Freddy's Dead, before we get the new Nightmare and things kind of reset and we get the remake and Freddy vs. Jason and everything after that. So the original, we can call it the original 6. The first 6.
The core 6.
The core 6, yeah. This isn't the worst one.
No, I would chalk that up to 2.
2 grows on me the more I watch it, but only because it's different completely. You almost have to take 2 out and look at it as a different
honestly,
version
you really
altogether.
do, because 3 is really a continuation of 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4, 5, and 6 are technically a continuation of 3.
Yeah.
So 2 is like off in its own little la-la land over here, and has nothing to do with like,
and
the
it
main
doesn't
story.
make sense. It doesn't go with the rest of the main story. It's yeah. It's not the worst one of the first 6. It's not even the second worst one. Like, honestly, I think Freddy's Dead is terrible. I think I think
Well, we already got her opinion on that one now.
we've already ranked them.
That's true.
Okay, we've already talked about our rankings of these films. It's not the worst. I'm still gonna give it a Bloody Machete up because it's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
There's a lot of good one-liners. Freddy's really... I think this is when Freddy is the funniest without being so far over the line that he's ridiculous. Because starting the next movie, and especially in 6, it gets just stupid.
No, you're
absolutely
you're
stupid.
absolutely right.
At least in this movie, he still maintains a little bit of scariness and has a lot of really funny one-liners.
I mean,
and
he's
there's
got a
good
lot of funny
practical
one-liners
effects in
throughout
this
the
movie.
rest of this, though.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. He's the king of one-liners. It's gonna be a Bloody Machete up for me.
I will also give it a Bloody Machete up, not because I think it's very deserving of it. It's not by any means, but I can't give it a Bloody Machete down because it's not as bad as, like Jenny said, some of the other titles in this franchise.
Yep. That said, this was the highest grossing film in the franchise until Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
So everything after this, like really 3, I think, brought that hype. Mm-hmm. And then a year later, they put out 4, and that's what brought in the box office smash that it was. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of...
It tapered off because the story just wasn't there anymore.
Yep. So, yeah, Bloody Machete up from both of us. We will obviously be revisiting this franchise somewhat soon. I think not too long. Maybe in a month or so.
Within like the next month or two.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. We'll be revisiting again, and we're at least gonna try and get through this core 6 pretty quickly in the year. So, yeah. But let's get this out of here.
Send that straight back to Springwood.
Yeah, get on out of here. What shall we do next?
You want to do a...
Can I give a little hint?
You want to do a newer film?
I can't do that big creepy smile. I'm not good at it. Do I look silly? Do I look silly? Amy's back there giggling, so clearly I look silly.
Well, I mean, with that being said, we are covering the 2022 smash hit that is Smile.
How's my chin look?
You mean all 6 of them?
Yes. Or 12, which I don't know. Depends on how good I get my chin going. Anyways. Smile! Smile. Smile.
Smile, Freddy.
Smile, Freddy.
No, smile.
He's not gonna smile.
Smile. Are you deaf? He's not listening.
You guys, make sure you come back here next week. Next week, Amy is just cracking up behind the screen.
I wish you could see
Can you
this.
guys hear her?
This is where we need like a candid camera
I
on
know,
set where
I know.
we can just film her reaction.
I know.
and everything.
Next time we're gonna start setting up my
Yeah,
camera and we're filming her from this way
right.
so that we can get little candid reactions from Amy.
Anyway, yes, next week, Smile, and be sure to slash that subscribe button.
Stab the like button.
And ring-a-ling that gray bell so you don't get lost in the mix and can stay up to date on everything we are doing on this platform.
Yeah. And until next time, we will see you all
In the afterlife.